Hola, amigos! Brad Evans here. It's week number 14, round one of the fantasy playoffs for about the 98.9999% of you who refuse to have your fantasy championship game decided by guys getting benched, the madness, the craziness, the insanity that is week 17. So it is do or die time for many out there in fantasy land. You're trying to survive and advance on to the next round. And I'm here to help you out over the next several minutes here on this social media broadcast. Don't forget, too, over my shoulder here, Fantasy Football Live. Coming up, myself, Nicole Zalumis, Andy Behrens, Liz Loza, Tank Williams, all in the house. Matt Harmon's going to make a cameo as well. YahooSports.com starting at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. That is 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. Again, exclusively streaming on Yahoo Sports, and Roku as well were available. So I'm going to be here, though, right now to try to hold your hand through these difficult times. And we've got a lot of news that came really mostly yesterday off the wire in regards to impactful fantasy twists and turns. One being, of course, Odell Beckham, who, shockingly, though he practiced on Friday in full, is not going to play today due to a quad injury. I think there's more of the story than is being let on, but we'll have to wait and see what transpires in the media there locally with Odell over the coming days. But he is inactive. Melvin Gordon, of course, out. It's going to be a lot of Justin Jackson and Austin Eckler. Detrez Newman as well, or Newsome, will be involved, elevated off the practice squad for the LA Chargers. And just the mother of all matchups, greatest matchup possible, going against those Bungles from Cincinnati, who have allowed the most fantasy points, close to 180 total yards per game, 19 combined touchdowns to the running back position this season. I've got Justin Jackson as my RB13 this week. Just to give you some perspective on some players that I have slightly ahead of him and some players I have slightly behind him. David Johnson, Tariq Cohen, Dalvin Cook I have just ahead of him. I have Cook at 10, Cohen at 11, DJ at 12, and just behind Jackson, Sony Michel, Jalen Samuels, and James White. So a pair of Patriots, Lamar Miller there as well. And, of course, the controversial Samuels, who, yes, will remain tight end eligible in Yahoo leagues. And that is the second subject here I want to address. A lot of people complaining about this. This is not my control. It is our game's control. And our stats provider labeled him a running back / tight end back in April. Why? Well, he played H-back primarily at North Carolina State, and it was unknown what position he was going to take on when he went to the next level. He actually tested with the tight ends at the NFL Combine, and our game opened April 24th. So as a result of that, he was designated with dual eligibility at running back and tight end. Well, people say, well, why didn't you change it in August when the initial depth chart came out? We don't change designations. In other words, we don't take them away. We only add eligibility. For example, like with Cordero Patterson, when he played enough at running back earlier this season with the Patriots, he earned that eligibility, that designation. But we never strip it away. So in terms of Jalen Samuels, he is going to remain running back and tight end. That is the justification, reasoning behind it, and you need to deal with it at this point. And in terms of where he ranks this week, top 15, I got him at number 15 among running backs. Yeah, he's going to be probably in a 60-40 timeshare with Stephen Ridley, but it's those rancid Raiders for crying out loud who have allowed 5.10 yards per carry, 10th most fantasy points to the running back position. So I think there's a really good shot there for Samuels to get you, 70 total yards, possible touchdown. Now among tight ends, I only have Zach Ertz ahead of him. And Ertz lit up the Dallas Cowboys like a Christmas tree the last time he faced them. Pair of touchdowns, well above 100 yards in that game. I think Ertz may have the higher floor comparatively to Jalen Samuels just based on history, based on the fact that he's seeing such a mammoth target share and knowing that the Cowboys have really struggled containing the tight end. So that's kind of your perspective on Jalen Samuels. To kind of give you exactly where we lie and why he has that eligibility in Yahoo leagues. So good luck to you if you're facing him and if you actually own him. And we got a report this morning that Samuels will actually get the bulk of the carries for the Pittsburgh Steelers today. And this was coming from NFL Network's Ian Rappaport tweeting out that he'll get the bulk. So what does bulk mean again? Probably then a minimum of 60% of the opportunity share for the Steelers and what should be positive game script from start to finish against the Silver and Black. T.Y. Hilton is officially active. Jonathan Joseph, on a related note, also active or expected to be for the Houston Texans, which, he was dealing with a neck injury. Doesn't really downgrade Hilton necessarily. I know he's been a bit of a roller coaster ride, but a couple 100-yard games in his last 3, and I think Andrew Luck gets back to his 3 TD ways after that clunker that he posted last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who then go out and give up franchise records and just historic performance to Derrick Henry. It's almost inexplicable. So that's kind of the major news that's off the wire today, and at least for this morning. And of course, we'll have more to talk about in regards to anything else, any other curveballs that may be thrown here before teams tee up for the early slate of kickoffs. Additionally, I get a lot of questions about Jeffrey Wilson Jr. And, right now, what's fascinating in fantasy land, this is a time of year that, guys start to break down and you start to see some of these unsung heroes coming out of the woodwork. I mean, we've seen it historically in a number of cases. Pierre Thomas, Nick Goings, Ron Dane, players that may have been involved in timeshares or were strict backups who were promoted, elevated, and thrust into these favorable opportunities. And Jeffrey Wilson Jr. is one of them. A guy that was a UDFA out of North Texas. Looked really impressive last week. It was almost a Saquon Barkley-like line. 15 carries, 61 yards, 8 catches, 77 yards. He's not spectacular at all. He's a very bland, athletic specimen, but he is a quintessential Shanahan back. Vision, cutting ability, versatility. Check, check, and check. And that fits perfectly in that one cut-and-go zone blocking scheme that Shanahan runs, just like his dad did in Denver for a number of years or in Washington. Mike Shanahan, Elder Shanahan, always unearthed these hidden gems, whether it's Mike Anderson or Clinton Portis, Ryan Terrain or Landis Gary, Taco Tatum Bell, Mike Bell. These guys, they would just fit the system, and as a result of that, would be very productive. And the one thing a lot of people have overlooked about the Denver Broncos this season, that offensive line has been a top 5 unit in terms of run blocking efficiency, whether you're looking at Football Outsiders metrics or Pro Football Focus's metrics. They've been outstanding. This is, that's why Philip Lindsay's been so good in that scheme for Denver, and Shanahan runs it. And the Niners have also been equally as good. I misspoke when I said Denver. The Niners are top 5 in run blocking efficiency as well. So Wilson's going to, find avenues to cut and go and get the job done. And I think you got to follow the volume there. I think he's a top 20 back through and through in PPR formats today, though the Broncos have been very stiff in the trenches over the last handful of weeks, giving up just 3.76 yards per carry, 1 touchdown to the running back position, though they've given up 5.6 receptions per game to RBs over that stretch. All right, let's go ahead and start answering some of your questions here. This broadcast, we're streaming it on Periscope, Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch. So lock and load. The scroll's just flooded right now with questions. So I'm going to start diving in on some of these. First one coming from Billy Croft on Facebook. Jalen Samuels, Jordan Howard, or Tevin Coleman. It doesn't say the format there, but got to maximize the matchup. And for me, it's Jalen Samuels. Again, the Raiders giving up 5.10 yards per carry to the running back position. And based on Ian Rappaport's note, it came off the wire about an hour ago, he's going to see a bulk of the action today, bulk of the carries for the Steelers, and what should be a positive script, a deficit game for the Raiders, which means in a surplus, Samuels should see the ball in his gut frequently. So definitely play him with the utmost confidence at the running back position with that question. We get another one here. Fricked Wabbit on Periscope. Lost Sanders, crying emoji. Josh Reynolds or Marquise Goodwin. I'm not entirely sure Goodwin is officially going to play. The expectation was he was going to return this week, but until you see him active, he was dealing with a personal issue. And look, Nick Mullins has been infatuated with Dante Pettis. And knowing that Pettis is going to see a lot of action in the slot, also knowing that Chris Harris Jr., the best slot corner I feel in the league, is out due to a fractured fibula. I think Pettis is going to be at a point of emphasis vertically. I actually go Josh Reynolds, though I believe the Bears win this game outright tonight, and I'm on record for saying that they win by double figures. Yes, I'm crazy. There might be tequila in my coffee this morning, but no, Josh Reynolds for me is a better play there. Scott Pulaski on Facebook, Johnson or Mixon? I'm assuming that's David Johnson. If it is, I would give the advantage to David Johnson. You look at the Detroit Lions, they're rank inside the top 12 most fantasy points allowed of the running back position. I know DJ has been hard to pinpoint, difficult to predict, but he's seeing the sizable workload. He did get snaked last week a pair of times by Chase Edmonds, inexplicably so, but there's a good shot there, 80 combined yards and a score against the Detroit Lions at home. Juanito Mojito, 88 on Periscope. Shepard, Humphreys, or Sutton in a wide receiver too. Again, with Odell Beckham out, Sterling Shepard is going to see a pretty sizable increase in target share in this contest. Is there a shot there that he goes for 75 plus and a touchdown? Absolutely there is. Washington down Quentin Dunbar. He's going to see a lot of Fabian Moreau in coverage. Moreau, the best DB in terms of coverage, analytically speaking, for the Washington Redskins. But he's also given a 100-plus passer rating to his assignments. So, it's close between Humphreys and Shepard. I think Sutton would be the odd man out for me there. I would probably go with Sterling Shepard, just knowing that there are fewer cards at play here to potentially steal away some of those looks from Eli Manning. So go Sterling Shepard. Additionally, we've got Paul Yoon on YouTube, Doug Baldwin or Josh Adams in a half-point PPR, with Baldwin being a full-blown game-time decision, and that being a Monday night game. You can't risk him. I go with Josh Adams, a guy that's getting consistently 20 touches a game. Yes, it's a difficult opponent. The Dallas Cowboys, very stiff in the trenches. They were inside the top 10 and fewest fantasy points allowed to the running back position, giving up less than 4 yards per carry. But, Adams, you got to follow the volume. And there's a good shot there, maybe get you 70 yards and hopefully into the end zone. He'll get some goal-to-go opportunities today in a game that's just colossal for divisional purposes and for playoff positioning between the Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles. Let's stick with YouTube here. HKC Quan 87. Hey, Brad, Jordan Reed or Evan Ingram in a standard? And that's the other takeaway here from Odell Beckham Jr. being sidelined, is that Evan Ingram, will he be exhumed? Will he be unearthed? Will he rise from the fantasy grave? He's largely been dead to all of us for much of the season. I say yes. I would actually go with Evan Ingram over Jordan Reed because it's Mark Sanchez, who sucks. Why sugarcoat it? He's terrible. And the fact that he is under center yet again, yet Colin Kaepernick can't get a job in this league, kind of tells you everything you need to know. So, for me, I want nothing to do with Washington Day. Adrian Peterson, even though he's got a sensational matchup on paper, I think he's going to see nothing but 8 men or more in the box, stack fronts galore. So for me, I'm going to go with Evan Ingram there over Jordan Reed, though. I own Jordan Reed in a 16-teamer, and I really need him to produce today so I can move on to round 2 of the fantasy playoffs. So don't hold me down. Maybe reverse psychology there on that selection internally. Tony Mancini on Facebook, Justin Jackson or Sony Michel. As I mentioned at the top of this broadcast, I got Jackson a couple of spots ahead of Michel. I'm sticking to that. Bold prediction of the week, Justin Jackson goes for at least a hundo and a touchdown. Again, it's Cincinnati, for crying out loud. They are atrocious. They're abominable. They're abysmal when it comes to defending the run. This entire defense is checked out, and the Chargers just surging right now. A team that is looking very much like a contender to take down the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to find out on Thursday night, and what will be one of the better, if not the best, Thursday night matchup we've seen this year. So for me, I'm going to go with Justin Jackson there, and I'm not worried about Austin Eckler taking too much of the workload or Newsome taking too much of the workload. I think he's going to see probably at least 14 to 16 touches. And against that dinner and a movie defense that is Cincinnati, again, 100 yards, touchdown, well within reach for him coming off that breakout performance. Get you much stiffer opponent in the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. Another Justin Jackson question on Facebook. James DiVincenzo, Jackson or Spencer Ware. I am not a fan of Spencer Ware this week. Look, I implored people to play him last week. Why? I'm a matchup advocate. He was thrust into, the full-time gig. He got 15 touches, but only 52 total yards. He did find the end zone and salvage his fantasy day, but that was even a struggle. So is that an indictment on the Kansas City offensive line? Did Oakland rise the occasion that particular week? Yeah, I mean, both those things could have played factors, but, I mean, a lot of it was on Ware because a lot of the advanced numbers support that he was just painfully mediocre last week in terms of yards after contact per attempt. He only forced a couple of missed tackles. So I don't want anything to do with Spencer Ware against Baltimore, who's allowed the fewest fantasy points, just 90.3 total yards per game, 3.44 yards per carry to the running back position. So I think the wise move here clearly, far and away, is Justin Jackson over Ware. All right, some additional questions coming in from Periscope. Harris Evan 114. Larry Fitz or DJ Moore. I'm assuming it's DJ Moore. Nori Moore. There's also David Moore, Seattle. I'm going to assume it's DJ. This one's close. I am worried about Cam, in that shoulder that is in need of repair, further repair. He had, some shoulder surgery the offseason last year, complaining about, some of the residual impacts of that. Here, recent weeks, you've seen his, advanced analytics just plummet here the last 4 weeks after he aggravated that injury. But I slight advantage of DJ Moore, just the ever so slightest. Larry Fitzgerald could score. He's done that consistently, but, I mean, it's rare that he's even going over like 35 or 40 yards in a game. Moore has that explosive upside, and he's being used in myriad ways, not only as a receiver, but also as an end-around runner. I like to, feature him in that kind of scheme, along with Curtis Samuel at least once a game. So for me, I'm going to go DJ Moore, slight advantage there, again, over Larry Fitz. Blake Moore on Facebook, Cortland Sutton or Kenny Galladay. I don't like any bit of Kenny Galladay today. Not against Patrick Peterson in Arizona on the road. I think the Cardinals win this game outright. I think the Cardinals defense, excellent for streaming purposes. I picked him up and plugged him in a couple leagues in the opening round of my fantasy playoffs. Galladay has hit the 70-yard mark through the air in 3 of his last 7 games. Peterson, though, has given up just a 70.5 passer rating, 0.61 yards per snap to his assignments. I think he's largely going to be locked in and containing Kenny Galladay today. So not a big fan of Kenny Galladay. I would go with Cortland Sutton, who's going to see an increase in target share, just over 8 targets per game available, will be dispersed for the Denver Broncos. You could see a lot of Deshaun Hamilton as well in this particular contest. You would think that Richard Sherman, who's usually fixed to one side, will largely be on Cortland Sutton. And Kwan Williams, last I checked, he was touch and go whether or not he was going to play. He's a starting slot corner for the Niners, and he was giving up like a 106 passer rating to his assignments. If he sits, the backup even worse. So Hamilton, it could be a breakout game. I wrote about it in the Booms, Busts, and Breakouts column on Yahoo Sports, along with Scott Pinowski. And I think Matt Harmon was on it this week as well, or Dalton Del Don, one of the two. But Hamilton was my pick to be the breakout player here of Week 14, and it has largely to do with his one-on-one matchup against Kwan Williams or whoever the elevated backup is in that secondary for the San Francisco 49ers. All right, all kinds of questions just flooding the feed here. Keep them coming, and Barons is trying to hit me. You have the accuracy of Blake Bortles. Well done. Brandon Fornes. PPR flex, Cooper or Hilton. I'm going to go with Amari Cooper there. Just a slight advantage. Where'd that football go as I'm like damaging equipment at the same time? I'm going to go with Cooper. Oh, there it is. Cooper for me, great matchup. Philadelphia ravaged by injury. The news came out yesterday that Jalen Mills is done for the season. Yeah, Sidney Jones is back in uniform. Rasul Douglas as well, but you could really take advantage. And, he's been receiving some force feeding. And credit to Amari Cooper. He's run some really great routes here the last few weeks. And I'll go back to that Thanksgiving Day game against Washington. Juked the crap out of, it might have been Josh Norman, if I remember correctly. There was also a few beverages in when that game kicked off. But, potentially he could have another, 80 yards and a touchdown. Oh, my sexy friend Tank Williams is in the house. Baby? What's up, baby? How you doing, dude? Oh, rocking the Cartman shirt. I love it.
Hey,
Yeah. My authority. All right, so Tank here with us on this broadcast. We got a lot of questions, Tank. Justin Jackson in particular seems to be dominating most of them I'm seeing.
Yeah,
This one's going to be a really good one. So what's your take on Justin Jackson? Is he a top 15 back? I mean, you roll with him in DFS because he's so damn cheap, right?
I mean, he has probably one of the best matchups today. The thing is that how much usage is he going to get? And I feel like the way the game went in Pittsburgh last week is that they're going to use him as like the hammer, so maybe like the traditional Melvin Gordon route, and then kind of limit Austin Eckler to his regular snaps. And
Yeah, like satellite work.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if that's the case, then shit, he's a damn good player.
Yeah, he's going to go nuts. I agree with you there. So he's saying Justin Jackson. My bold prediction for the week is 100 yards and a touchdown. I mean, not even sure that's really that bold. It could be 102. Mm-hmm. That would be bolder, but I think he's a fringy RB1 in 12-team formats. Husdog on Periscope, Zay Jones, who's been the apple of Josh Allen's eye, finding the end zone with regularity, had 21 targets the last 3 weeks for Zay Jones or Traquan. Is this a Traquan game? I mean, I got something for you.
Yeah, this is a Traquan game if you're like willing to like throw a dart in like a tourney DFS. Like if you want to put in someone that's a little bit more dependable, I would say it's probably Zay Jones. But Traquan is one of those guys that he's had like, I believe, maybe 3 points or something like that in the last 3 weeks. So if you throw him in there, he's not going to be highly owned. So if he goes off, you're going to probably be one of the red folks that got him in the lineup.
I'm going to go with Traquan, actually. The Revs in the house.
I love that shirt.
He's got a Bears.
I have something.
You got to rock that
lines today too.
Show the shirt here to the crew that's watching. Oh yeah, woke up feeling dangerous. Little Baker action in Cleveland. And I've got it is the holiday season, Tank.
Where'd my ball go?
I got it right here in my hand. And that's, let your mind wander on that one. Tank, I was in downtown Littleton, Colorado yesterday at a store picking up some gifts, and I found something that spoke to me. I'm like, I have to get this for Tank Williams.
Really?
I'm going to show the audience this because this is like it's a coaster.
You didn't tell me we were doing Secret Santa.
I pulled him in Secret Santa. This is it. It's amazing, and I know you're a big Prince fan.
Yes. Oh, and it's from Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
So it's Prince's mugshot. I don't remember when that happened, but Tank's from Mississippi. We were how far away from Jackson?
I have family in Jackson.
He's got family in Jackson.
Like 2.5 hours away.
So I saw that. I know he's a huge diehard Prince fan.
Almost doing a Prince shirt today.
I know. It would have been awesome. And then I saw it said Jackson, Mississippi. I'm guessing he got arrested for like lewd conduct or something. More than likely.
Probably humping something.
Yeah, he's probably doing like, cream and it was too many moans or something, but yeah, amazing. So again, I'll show the audience. I found this for Tank. It's a holiday season. I thought he would really enjoy that. All right, let's get back to answering some questions. I told you, man. It just spoke to me. I'm like, I gotta get this for Tank. Brewster Sacrifice on Periscope. Dak or Wilson? So Russell or Dak?
Thank you, Frank.
Dak, of course, drawing Philadelphia, and Russell Wilson drawing the Minnesota Vikings in the capper of Week 14.
I would go Dak.
I'm playing Dak, yeah.
I go Dak, too. Look.
It's hard to veer away from Wilson, who's been about the most efficient passer.
Was it 4 touchdowns on 17 attempts last week?
Yeah.
Nuts. But Minnesota has been so tough
in
that secondary. And, Trey Waynes isn't healthy. Xavier Rhodes has been fighting through injury, but they've had that extra couple of days of rest with it being a Monday night game. So I'm with you guys. I'm going Dak as well.
Down to like a couple of CFL dudes, maybe a fantasy expert in the secondary.
Well, they have, I think it's like 4 UDFAs, if I'm not mistaken, and Sidney Jones.
I think Field Yates is actually playing.
Field Yates, yes, your son, Field Yates. That's correct. People, listen. These weather questions in regards to Tampa.
You know you love it.
No big deal, okay? There's a system that is impacting. It's actually Winter Storm Diego is what the National Weather Service has coined for it.
Go, Diego.
They're supposed to get upwards of a foot of snow in the Carolinas and in southern Virginia. It's like it's state of emergency in North Carolina. But it doesn't really snow in Florida.
And
very rarely.
Got out.
Yes, exactly. And look, there's going to be a line of storms going to move through. Maybe there's a weather delay temporarily due to some lightning, but after that, it's going to be just fine. Wind is the biggest deterrent in fantasy, and wind is not going to play a major factor in Tampa Bay today. So start your Saints, start your Buccaneers with supreme confidence. All right, let's go to YouTube. Christopher Williams says Sony Michel or Jalen Samuels. Tank?
I'm going Sony Michel. We all know about that Miami Dolphins run defense. They've been hammered several times this year, and I think that with Brady a little banged up, with a lot of those pass catchers banged up like Gronk and those guys, I think they're going to lean heavy on the run game.
I agree. I'm going to go with Sony Michel. How about you,
I'm
Barnes?
going Michelle as well. The question we're going to be asking anytime anyone involves
True.
Jalen Samuels is who is your starting tight end? Like, because there's, again, it's only Ertz and Kelsey are the only guys that I would play at tight end ahead of maybe Ebron. Okay, I can talk myself into Ebron.
Yeah.
That's it, though.
Yeah, I'm with you. I only have Ertz ahead of Samuels just because he lit up Dallas last time, and Dallas has really struggled containing the tight end
I would
position.
play Ebron above him, but other than that, yeah, I'm with you guys.
But yeah, I think Sony Michel, here's a hot take. Michel finds the end zone, James White finds the end zone, and Rex Burkhead finds the end
Wouldn't be
zone.
surprised.
All
Yeah.
three of them score. And Tom Brady throws one touchdown, and please, fantasy gods,
Yeah, like-
throw it to Josh Gordon. No Xavier Howard. Can we
Yeah.
take advantage of that, please? I know
If
Micah
he doesn't
Fitzpatrick's
throw it,
been good,
if he
but
doesn't throw it the flash, they're gonna be on your mentions in the Twitter sphere. Like,
yes,
yeah.
yes, they're going to be clinging
Yeah.
tenaciously to
Every
my
game.
buttocks in a bad way. And I've got the
Like I
Bears.
feel like Gordon has already proved himself worthy now, but people are
Yeah.
still on you. Like he has.
I got some heat about Gordon. I think it was either yesterday or the day before. A guy goes, Gordon's been crap. I'm like, he's wide
you kidding
receiver
me?
20 in standard
Yeah. Yeah.
since joining the New England Patriots. He found the end zone. What do you want? What do you want? You know, it's
Possible
we're
you
not going to go.
overpromised?
Well,
Possible.
we're not going to go back to the 2000 what was it 12
I
season.
mean, when we
11
said the
season?
ceiling was like Randy Moss, but Moss was with them like the offseason and all that too, right?
He's been really
Yeah.
good. Shut up. And quit asking me about Jalen Samuels and whether or not he's going to maintain his tight end eligibility. The answer is yes. All right, moving on. Matt Brown. Oh, in the UK. Jaleo. We have a UK viewer.
Yeah, I love it over there.
Yeah,
Your
it's
accent's
great.
getting so much better.
Well, you know, I'm actually from Wales, my family, so it's a very complicated language, the Welsh language. There's all kinds of like consonants and vowels that have no place in any language. Kind of like Russian. Like, why would you do that? Anyway, nobody cares about that. Matt has a question on a quarterback, Deshaun Watson or Goff. Jared. And now, so Tank, let me ask you a question. And you tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being Looney Tunes, straight Bugs Bunny style, and 10 being of sound body and mind. I said the Bears are going to win tonight by 10 or more points. And the reason behind it is you got a warm weather team and a quarterback in Jared Goff. Bears and I were talking about this over drinks last night. This might be the coldest game that Jared Goff has ever played in his life. He's
It's
a
not
Cali
even
kid.
like frighteningly cold in Chicago right
No,
now.
it's only
but
what 25, something
But
like
it's
that.
Yeah.
like 20s
And
there's a healthy breeze.
There'll be a healthy breeze that comes off the lake.
It was uncomfortable, yeah.
So I'm
And
down on
actually,
Goff.
like, we were talking to a scout earlier this week, and he said that some teams downgraded him, like that play in like say the Pacific Northwest or like in the NFC North and those squads because he has small hands. That they're worried about him.
Kurt
like-
Warner hands?
Yeah, so they're worried about him not being able to grip the ball, whether it's in rain or maybe possibly in cold weather.
Well, that's an
So,
interesting
with that being
take.
the case,
When
it's
you
like-
got Khalil Mack breathing down your
Yeah,
neck?
right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like
Wow.
the game could still be close, but I'm looking at it being more so a Todd Gurley game. I mean, we see what Saquon was able to do against them last week. So, Gurley may be able to have some impact in the run/pass game if he's just dumping them.
So
off.
you go Deshaun Watson, as you're telling me?
Yeah, absolutely.
I definitely go Deshaun
I have
Watson. You're with
Watson
me there?
in spots ahead.
Yeah, I've got Golf outside my top 12 this week. I think the Bears, this is a statement game for Chicago. Maybe I'm viewing this through orange and navy blue color glasses. But I'm telling you,
yeah.
it's a
Avo-
trap if you
Avoid
take
the
the
Trump
Rams.
hands in those cold weather games.
Oh, what was it? That Kristen Wiig's character on Saturday Night Live? She played that really creepy woman who had like a hairline back to here, and she only had the baby hands. It was a Lawrence Welk show. Or whatever. Oh yeah, that's Jared Goff tonight. They're gonna shrink. All right, Chris Casada. Oh, what a great last name. Goff, or that'd be Goff or Brady, and he uses all kinds of alcohol emojis. So that's what drew me to this question. Would you go with Tom Brady over
Absolutely.
Goff?
Yeah.
Really? Would you?
I would as well. I'm not even expecting some huge week out of Brady, but I don't like the setup for Goff that much.
I don't like the setup for either one of these guys. Now, the good news for Brady is that there's no Xavier Howard.
Right.
Yeah. But the downside here is if it is a run-heavy emphasis, is it going to be like another Tom Tepid performance of like 240 yards and 1 touchdown or 2 touchdowns?
I mean, we know that's in the wheelhouse.
You know what I would do here? I would entertain, if Josh Allen is available, picking him up and pulling him in over both these guys.
Imagine.
Yeah, you have to be able to live a little bit dangerously.
Yeah,
That's right.
But,
You got to clack, got to roll those dice,
but,
baby.
hey, he's been balling the past couple weeks.
The only guy that has outperformed in the last 2 weeks, Patrick Mahomes. That's
It is.
it.
We were talking about this morning. This Josh Allen season is one of the weirdest fantasy seasons that I can recall because he's literally either been top 6 or bottom 6. There's never just like an 18 point. Like, hey, nice going. You finished QB 15. He's either at the absolute top or the absolute bottom.
But if he has a matchup to be at the absolute top, is this week.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. All right, let's go rapid fire here before we get out, guys. Arnie Kivik on Facebook, Brady or Ben? Big Ben, right?
Oh, Ben.
All day by a large margin.
I threw 50 times today. I bet that's the actual flip side of this whole scene.
I got a lot of Antonio Brown at DFS.
You have to get the head beat in, yeah.
A lot of Antonio Brown. Yemdog81 on Periscope. Brait has been disappointing. Roll the dice on Evan Ingram. No Odell Beckham.
Yeah, I would do it. Brait had a shot at finding the end zone last week.
Oh, he dropped it.
A couple of passes.
Yeah.
It was pretty ugly. It's a great matchup, obviously, against New Orleans. But I like Ingram and Shepard.
Could be the resurrection of Evan Ingram today. I'm with you. I'm going to go Ingram. Tank, you're on the fence?
This question hurt Tank.
Yeah. I mean, just because Ingram hasn't done anything all year.
Yeah, he hasn't. I'm going to go Ingram. Andy's going Ingram. That's majority. It rules. Let's go to Sean Anthony Smith on Facebook. Jalen Samuels or Joe Mixon?
So I would start Samuels here. Again, I want to know who your tight end is. I'll just keep saying it. I would only start Kelsey, Ertz, and
Eric Ebron. I'm going with Jalen Samuels as well. I think he has more touchdown appeal.
Props, yeah.
Like Mixon's been really good. It's kind of heroic, really. Like there's no reason for any of their frontline guys to play. He's averaged over 6 yards per carry the last 2 weeks, but it sure feels like Game Script is going to get away from him. Yeah.
All right, let's get 3 more in here. Michael Patrick on Facebook. He's got a 2-part question: Trubisky or Rodgers? I go Rodgers.
I like Rodgers.
Yeah, I'm playing Rodgers.
I got a number 1 this week.
I hope that's wrong, but I'm playing Rodgers.
Yeah, I think Trubisky's got to have a very nice game. I think this is a lucky 7 situation, and you're going to be very satisfied either way you go. The second part of his question: Diggs, Edelman, Samuels, and Cooks. Pick 2. Samuels for 1.
Yeah.
And then it's Diggs, Edelman, and Cooks. I don't want anything to do with Brandon Cooks. I'm going Diggs.
Anything to do with Brandon. I mean, I might like something to do with Brandon Cooks.
Not when you have Edelman or Diggs as
I don't
options.
think it's a total stay away matchup. But,
Right.
I was looking at this for over unders in FFL. The last 6 times Edelman has played Miami, he's gone over 70 yards. He's been money in the bank against Miami. So it's hard to sit him. My ranks are going to say Diggs though.
Yeah.
I got Diggs.
I would probably go Edelman, but I think I even like Cooks. Oh no, I don't. No, I don't.
I'm glad we're fleshing this out right now with Tank. You know,
Tank is now questionable for the show.
Yeah, he is.
The doc.
All right, last question. Our Mr. Irrelevant here is Joseph Scott on Periscope. This is an interesting one. Peyton Barber against that unyielding front of New Orleans, or does he roll the dice on Deshaun Hamilton? Again, manning the slot for the Denver Broncos with Emmanuel Sanders out.
I thought we were going to get another bad running back. Yeah, I can't go that far. I get the setup for Hamilton. It's nice. He has a shot at 6 to 8 targets in this one. I can't do it, though.
And that Niners pass defense is weak.
I'm going Deshaun Hamilton, believe it or not. I'm telling you,
I'll probably roll the dice on that too.
Breakout performance for Deshaun Hamilton today.
Yeah, I don't see a path of success for Barber.
I don't either.
Yeah.
And the only thing you could hope for is a touchdown. If he trips and falls in the end zone, they get a goal-to-go situation. This could be one of those games. I mean, the Saints secondary is even improved.
What's the over/under in that game?
55, double nickel.
That's the thing. You're going to get a lot of points, and he's the featured running back.
But I mean, don't forget like a few weeks ago when Quiz ended up having like 10 targets.
Yeah.
And that could be one of those games. That was with Fitzpatrick, though, if I remember correctly. So, all right, that is a wrap on this edition of our social media stream. Watch Fantasy Football Live, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Prince in the house. We're gonna have to take it on set.
I know, definitely.
I saw that. It was really money. 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. YahooSports.com. Check us out, and good luck getting on to round 2.
Peace.